Confronted by a new world order and a U.S. president that is carrying out their silent war, we are living in a time of reckoning, and through signs, God is speaking directly to those with ears to listen.
In Genesis 1:14, God declared the sun and the moon were for signs.
Right.
The only signs they can give is eclipses. All right? And the nice thing about eclipses, no false prophet can manipulate it. Solar eclipse means judgment is coming upon a nation. Since we become a nation in 1776, there has only been 8 total solar eclipses that have completely crossed the United States. 2 of them occurred during the Revolutionary War. 3 of them occurred during the Civil War. 2 of them occurred during the Vietnam War. Of those 8, only 1, which was the one 7 years ago, it only crossed the United States and no other country.
Exodus 4:8. Remember, April 8th. If they do not believe the first sign, which was on August 21st, 2017, they will believe the second sign.
Showing you this, like it was for the praying for the ear and all the things that I've seen coming. He said, Brendan, I'm showing you this to stop it. You are to pray. What I'm seeing is when I'm just praying in the spirit, and I'm asking the Lord, I said, is there anything you want to show me? Is there anything coming? And all of a sudden, I just seen like I'm saying, like this movie screen, and he just started showing me like he did for Trump's ear. And he warned me, that the bullet would fly by. And everybody thought, well, his eardrum didn't bust. But when you're looking into a vision and you're seeing something, I'm just describing the best of my ability what I'm seeing with the blood flowing down his ear. What they're planning is bigger than terrorist attacks. This is actually an invasion of an act of war for what I believe is coming. It's not like, we're saying, this is Al-Qaeda, this is ISIS. This is actually Iranian government coming over here. They've come across the border. I saw them in tunnels that were being smuggled in by drug traffickers. That were being smuggled in, and I'm talking big money. This was not just like a little bit of money that I saw that they were paying the drug smugglers and for funding to get over here. The Lord showed me them gathering the materials for making these bombs for over a year. And so they were getting the fertilizers and the vans, and I saw dump trucks. So the Lord showed me that they made them like bulletproof. They put like armor all on the front and on the sides. So if they were going through police barricades or whatever, that they would not be stopped by bullets or any kind of retaliation against them. So they made them like tanks. Then I saw 2 men in those dump trucks, and they had suicide vests on. They had vests on with this explosive devices all over their vest. And so they used the trucks to go through police barricades. So you couldn't stop them. It was very powerful what they were trying to do, shooting out their tires and stuff. But this was, like I'm saying, this was well funded. When they took the trucks, they rammed them through the barricades. And when they finally stopped them, they ignited their vest and blew up the whole area. And it wiped out all the buildings. And it was, if you think what happened in Oklahoma City was big, this was like so much more, like a huge 9/11 type event, y'all.
Like Jonah, despite our reluctance, we all must be prepared for repentance, even the repentance of our oppressors. We must also be prepared to respond to whatever the New World Order has up its sleeve. The night is far spent, the day is at hand. Let us therefore cast off the works of darkness, and let us put on the armor of light. John Bound reporting for InfoWars.
All right, hello and welcome. It's Doug Diamond, and you are at another Diamond Report Live. Hello there. It's 10:05 p.m. on January 19th, 2025. And how about that video? I thought that was very interesting. And yeah, Pastor Brandon Biggs, I think's his name, and he has proven himself to be very accurate in the recent months with the July shooting of Trump's ear. We know about that. And while he was wrong about the detail of his eardrum busting, he does explain that that was just his interpretation of what he was seeing. And while that might have been a slightly missed detail, the point is he did see it. And, as far as what he's explaining in these further visions, there's no timing mentioned. Whether or not you would believe that it's going to happen during the inauguration or in the next few days, I think that remains to be seen for sure. I do think what he is seeing, though, may very well be accurate, very, very accurate, probably. He may be wrong about the Iranians. That might be another detail that's slightly missed. We just don't know. But the point is, he is proven himself to be very accurate, and I would also mention that, yes, he was right about Trump's ear. He was also right more recently about the New Year's Eve and New Year's Day attacks in New Orleans. He named it. When he said Bourbon Street. He had it by name, Bourbon Street, New Orleans, and an attack there. He also named Las Vegas. And I told you guys last week that I was just a few blocks away in the Las Vegas area when the Trump Tower Cybertruck bombing happened there. So I do believe that Pastor Brandon Biggs is anointed with the Spirit of the Lord. And I do think he is someone to listen to for sure. Now, he also did mention, surprisingly, in those he mentioned 3 cities. He mentioned Las Vegas, he mentioned New Orleans, and he mentioned Nashville, which, as many of you guys know, that's where I live. Well, for whatever reason, there was no attack in Nashville, and I'm praying and hoping that there is not going to be an attack in Nashville. But the point is, he mentioned it, and I do think it's worth noting. And again, it's one of those things, just like the title of my series, Take It to the Lord in Prayer. I think that's all we can really do. Take it to the Lord in prayer and see what the Lord tells us. See what the Holy Spirit is talking to us about as far as these details go. He may be right about the attacks that are coming. I don't personally think that it's going to happen tomorrow. I don't really foresee anything major happening tomorrow. I do think Trump will be inaugurated and things will happen as we mostly envision them to happen. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. And just know that I will be praying for President Trump and for those around him. I'm hoping you guys will be as well. You may not like anything that President Trump is doing or saying. That doesn't mean you shouldn't pray for him, because he is officially a duly elected leader at this point. So I do think that we are to hold up those who have been actually elected by the American populace. And I do think that he won it fair and square this time. I do think he was able to override the massive amounts of fraud out there this time in 2024. So anyway, all that to say hello and welcome. My name is Doug Diamond. This is Diamond Report Live, and let's take a look at the news. We've got lots to talk about again this week, as we always do. And hope you guys have had a good week. Just an update with Miss Emily here. She's in chat, and I'm looking to see if she's typed anything on here. I don't see anything else. Got word today. Oh, here it is. Okay, this is news to me, so I'm just reading this with you guys. Got word today that they found Dad's plane smashed at the top of Mount Jefferson. They couldn't get to it today. Wow. Praying somehow that he is okay. Oh my gosh. Okay, I did not know that. So we are all learning this together. So I had several people ask me about, was there any news with Miss Emily's father? And okay, you messaged me on band. I hadn't seen it yet. So that's the news. And I do know that they had called off the search a few days ago, but beyond that, I didn't really have any new information. So we'll come back to the comments and questions and things like that a little bit later in the broadcast. But yeah, I wanted to just kind of give you a brief update as to what's going on with her family situation, and I know that she would certainly very much appreciate your prayers. So anyway, let's take a look at the first site that I've got pulled up here, which what I normally do is generally I have Hal Turner Radio Show pulled up first, because I do think that he's pretty good with breaking news. Now, this is from yesterday. and I do think that this is important just to mention, but we kind of already talked about this already. He's saying, seeding a narrative already. If something should happen to Trump in the next few days, And he says, as I write this was last night, he says he got a little freaked out by a social media posting. If something should happen to Trump over the next few days, the main suspect is ... which of course they're pointing to who else but Iran. Yes. And then here is a embedded tweet from Terror Alarm, whatever that is, channel on X. Why say something like that unless it's already planned? Why suggest the suspect unless it's already planned? So Hal is very much saying that he thinks something big's going to happen tomorrow. And he may be right. I don't know. None of us know. I do think it was worth mentioning. But they are blaming Iran when nothing has even happened yet. You notice that Pastor Biggs also mentioned Iran as well. So that gives them the narrative that they want to go to war with Iran. We all know who wants a war with Iran. It's not just the American empire. No, you could also say it is the Israelis. They very much want their war with Iran, don't they? Perfect scapegoat and perfect group of people to frame for whatever is planned. So you can bet, in my opinion, if something happens and it first gets pointed to Iran, that's who the culprit is, and whatever it is that happens, you can bet Israel has a huge hand in it. Maybe 100%. So we will see. Anyway, again, let's continue to pray for our leaders and pray for those who are in D.C., in the swamp, as it were. So let's see what happens. We're only a few hours away at this point. Some people were saying that they heard that they were going to swear Trump in at midnight tonight. I'm not so sure that that'll happen. I do think it'll all happen as scheduled tomorrow. And they did move the festivities to the Capitol Rotunda, so it won't be outside. So I think that was mostly a security measure, but they were, of course, blaming the cold weather. So we will see. We're going to talk about that a little bit more as we go tonight. So first story I've got pulled up from needtoknow.news. Representative Massey introduces legislation to audit the Federal Reserve. How about that? And this meme here, give a man a gun, he can rob a bank. Give a man a bank, and he can rob the world. And that's exactly what they've done, isn't it? G. Edward Griffin, author of Creature from Jekyll Island, A Second Look at the Federal Reserve, has responded by saying, I enthusiastically support this bill because it could bring to light so many unconstitutional activities that we instinctively know are commonplace at the Fed but cannot prove. But I am concerned that the government may do what it usually does in such cases, which is that it investigates itself, takes so long to do that the public eventually loses interest, and eventually it publishes a 2,000-page book of meaningless minutia and concludes that aside from a few minor infractions of the law by low-level personnel, everything's fine. Yeah. So that is from G. Edward Griffin, and I totally agree with him. Note that that is the site that we are on right now as well, which we mention every week. G. Edward Griffin's needtoknow.news. It's a good site. Anyway, he's just saying that he is urging Representative Massey and others with influence over this investigation to ensure that all the appointed members of the investigating committee once again declare allegiance to the Constitution of the U.S. and can prove that they are familiar with Article 1 that defines the limitations on the issuance of money. Another wise provision would be to require that no more than 50% of the appointees may be dependent on government funding as their primary livelihood income. How about that? Furthermore, all actions, documents, and substantive conversations between investigators and or witnesses should be recorded and within 24 hours of occurrence published online for public access. There should be a hard deadline of no more than 4 months to produce and publish the unredacted findings of the committee. To make this meaningful, it also should include the clear statement that there can be no exceptions to this rule, including the claim of national security, for the simple reason that full transparency in matters of this magnitude is essential for national security. Many politicians will most likely not be willing to endorse such a proposal, but they are the same ones who will do nothing to seriously challenge the Fed's power, regardless of the disclosure of the committee. They are talkers, not doers. Their mission is to give us hope, but they will betray us eventually when they fail to support meaningful change, so let's not play political games any longer. Investigate, yes, but then eliminate. That is our goal, and the timing to do so is running out. So, yes, I heartily agree. So let's see what happens. I don't know that the Fed's necessarily going to get audited, but I do think what he outlines here in this article is certainly worth paying attention to. Hopefully those in the District of Criminals will be willing to do that. We will see. Thomas Massie seems to be a pretty good guy, so, maybe he will get the word and note that he is one of the few people, probably just a handful of people in Congress, that is not paid off by AIPAC, the Israeli lobby. So I think that's an important little detail. All right, let's keep moving here. Pentagon advisor reveals secret plot with generals to, quote, stop Trump, plus a pedo sting allegation. Yeah, so I don't know if you guys already knew about this. Chances are you probably already do, but let's go over just a little bit of this story. Jamie Manina, advisor to the Joint Chiefs of Staff at the Pentagon, former FBI special agent, former U.S. State Department staffer under Hillary Rodham Clinton, and self-proclaimed, quote, spy hunter, disclosed to an undercover O'Keefe Media Group journalist that he is working with generals to, quote, stop Trump. He said, since the spring, I was working with these retired generals, retired ambassadors, adding, they're like 1, 2, or 3-star generals and admirals. You probably know maybe 4 stars. He acknowledged the organization's ultimate goal, emphasizing this organization tried to defeat Donald Trump. He also said that he had a high-level meeting in the Joint Chiefs of Staff Gold Room, known as the Tank, in the Pentagon. He told the undercover reporter that he wanted to keep information, quote, between us. Yeah, he thought he was going to get her into the bed as soon as possible. That's why. He was fired after the video was published. In a bizarre twist, a Predator DC video from 2021 allegedly shows Jamie, the same guy, in 2021, arriving at a house where he believed a 15-year-old girl was going to engage in sexual acts with him. She asked him to get naked, and then he said he would be happy to, but, quote, we're just 5 minutes in. The investigators in the sting operation then jumped out of the closet with their cameras as he fled the scene. Yes, he quickly put his shoes back on and hightailed it out of there. I think they should have waited a couple of minutes until he was stark naked and then turned the cameras on him. I think that would have been funnier and a little more dooming, as it were. But anyway, yes, he was a willing participant in both of these situations. Anyway, I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with this story, but the videos are both embedded here in the post on needtoknow.news. So the more important one, though, obviously, at least from the standpoint of Trump getting in and everything, is this first one where he's talking about trying to stop Trump. And, of course, that's what the deep state has been trying to do for many, many months, many years. All right, and then the next article I've got on needtoknow.news, House votes to deport illegal alien rapists. 145 Democrats, though, vote to keep them here. Probably not in their own houses, though. That would have been a nice little stipulation if you ask me. They should have put that into the bill. 70% of House Democrats voted against a bill to deport illegal alien rapists that was introduced by South Carolina Representative Nancy Mace, who was a victim of rape. Mace responded to the 145 Democrats who voted against the bill by writing, quote, and I abhor anyone on the left in this country who doesn't want to protect women and girls who are victims of rape, who are victims of pedophilia, and murderers who are here illegally. We absolutely must deport them, and we must never let them back into our country. And that is the message we sent to American women and girls this morning, end quote. Immigration and Customs Enforcement reported that almost 450,000 illegal alien criminals and 227,000 illegal alien criminal suspects are roaming American streets. More than 13,000 are murderers and more than 25,000 committed sex crimes. Those are probably low numbers because those are what you would call the official numbers. And those are always not really based in reality. Anyways, so 145 Dems, though, want to keep them here. They just want them living in red areas, if you ask me. It sounds like what I would expect them to say, though. All right, and then next article on needtoknow.news, California fires. Gavin Newsom is giddy and laughing about speculators and land grabs. Gavin Newsom appeared to be laughing throughout an interview in front of an area devastated by the recent fires in L.A. He said, "We're working through old strategies that we did up in Paradise. These are more contemporary strategies of focusing on one-stop shopping, making sure that we have an expedited approval process to make sure that we're dealing with a myriad of issues. I was just talking to Josh Green, the governor of down in Hawaii, who had some ideas around some land use concerns he has around speculators coming in, buying up properties and the like. So we're already working with our legal teams to move those things forward. We'll be presenting those in a matter of days, just not weeks. People are concerned that homeowners will be forced financially to sell their land and that Newsom will change zoning laws from single home residential to large multifamily facilities." Yeah, that's probably the next thing to watch for. So something to keep in mind. And let's take a look at this short little clip here.
Where Newsom is talking about calling Josh Green. The Maui fires, okay, they exposed the same stuff that's happening right now. Government failure, delayed response, ignored warnings, and all these priorities. He says something about reimagining California where he calls the Maui guy, and this is what bothers me, Tom, those people that you're talking about now that have nothing, okay, that the house was worth, let's say, $10 million in regard to insurance. Now if somebody comes and wants to buy up the land, Tom, they can offer them way less and say, listen, everything's gone. You didn't have the right insurance. We're going to give you this much money cash, Tom. Get this, go about your business. Am I right?
People that had their house paid off.
Yes.
That, for some of them that don't have the resources and were underinsured, that is their only choice.
Jeez.
To sell the land to tomorrow's developer and go somewhere.
So when he says this, Pat, isn't this a worrisome thing where he says he called him, and you mind if we look at his face?
I want to stay. Is this about insurance?
It's about the land grabbing the land.
Oh, okay. Play this clip, Rob.
We're dealing with a myriad of issues. I was just talking to Josh Green, the governor
funny.
Down in Hawaii, who had some ideas around some land use concerns he has around speculators coming in, buying up properties, and the like. So we're already working with our legal teams to move those things forward, and we'll be presenting those in a matter of days, not just weeks.
Days, just not weeks. Yeah, all right. So there you go. Gavin Newsom dancing on camera for you, getting a little jiggy with it, as they say. He's imagining hearing YMCA in his head, I think. Not sure, just a guess. But, yeah, you can see what he's really jazzed up about. He really wants to make sure that he gets in on this deal. This land grab, sounds to me like. Anyway, just thought I'd let you guys know about that. And, man, what a creep that guy is. Speaking of creeps, Netanyahu delays cabinet vote on ceasefire and instead bombs Gaza, because that's what he does. Israeli Prime Minister Bibi on Thursday halted a scheduled cabinet vote to enact a ceasefire with Hamas and carried out a series of airstrikes in Gaza that killed at least 70 people. The deadly airstrikes came just hours after President-elect Trump, Biden, and all parties involved announced a ceasefire deal that had been reached. And then, of course, the first thing they do is start bombing people and killing as many people as possible. So that's what they're doing over in Israel. So Israel strikes in Gaza, kill at least 70 after ceasefire accord. So I think they're a little confused on the meaning of the term ceasefire, because it seems to me like anytime that a ceasefire is announced, Bibi starts killing more people. So anyway, that's on needtoknow.news, and then technocracy.news, top 3 articles listed here on the homepage. Master Plan, the Technocratic Blueprint, We've been warned by several experts about the collapse of reality at the hands of technocrats. This article shows technocracy as the only system of control that makes such a reality engineering possible on a global scale. Technocrats have been building this system since 1930s when they first defined technocracy as the science of social engineering. So that is a very concise and short little snippet definition of what is technocracy, if you've ever heard that word. And that, I know, is also the way Patrick Wood himself defines it, because he's defined it on a show that I produce called Lost Arts Radio, when he has been a guest on with Richard and talking about various technocracy-related things over the years. So yes, technocracy is the science of social engineering. That's exactly what it is. Anyway, that's one article on the homepage here. And then AI facial recognition software resulting in false arrests. So watch out, huh? Technocrat-influenced police departments routinely hide the fact that they're using AI software to collar suspects, but too many innocent people are being wrongly charged. Part of the problem is that law enforcement management doesn't understand AI in the first place, which encourages a culture that encourages sloppy police work and over-reliance on AI to do their work for them. Yeah, and also I would also just add that they think the computer can't possibly make a mistake. You know what I mean? Pre-crime and facial recognition are the bane of law enforcement. Yeah, but they're going to do it anyway. We already know this. Ever seen the little movie that they had out a few years ago called Minority Report? That's what it's about. But yeah, of course. Not saying all police forces are lazy, but the ones that are using AI more and more, I think you could probably qualify as that, because they would rather let the computer do the work, even if it's wrong, and arrest somebody so that they get the next promotion and get moved up the chain. That's the way it works. Human nature, unfortunately. OpenAI releases economic blueprint for the future. The keys to AI's development are chips, data, energy, and talent. Humans make chips, generate data, produce energy, and supply brain power. Increasingly, AI will move into every domain. This blueprint is essentially a picture of CEO Sam Altman's brain that makes Pollyanna out to be a pessimist. It all hinges on the razor's edge, tipping over to autocratic rule or total reindustrialization. This country always succeeds when it bets on its ecosystem of builders and entrepreneurs. Yeah, so anyway, that is the third article on technocracy.news, and most of those go behind a paywall after so long, so if any of those three interest you, I would just encourage you guys to go visit that site, because I think those are open articles at the moment, so you can read through those if you're interested, but they will be behind a paywall or subscription wall at some point soon, I'm guessing. And okay, reclaimthenet.org, got a few headlines here. ADL, you know, the old ADL, CEO Jonathan Greenblatt urges Israel to combat anti-Semitism online, which is just simply disagreeing with anything Israel ever does. That's anti-Semitism. Calling for Apollo gold pager ingenuity and warning that the next war will be fought online. So what he's saying here, get this, Jonathan Greenblatt of the ADL says people who are committing what he's defining as anti-Semitism, which again, if you disagree with anything Israel does, you're anti-Semitic. He thinks you should be blown up by your pagers and cell phones, just like they did to the Hamas people and to the people, the Lebanese attack that they did there. Right? So let that sink in. The ADL spokesperson here wants you to be blown up if you disagree with anything Israel does. That's the bottom line. Isn't that nice? So loving. Yeah. All right. And then the next article here, UK introduces digital driving licenses and online digital ID privacy concerns. And there's that guy who I said, every time you see that guy's face, just think that's King Charles, basically, because he represents everything King Charles is all about. And notice all of this pedophilia stuff that has just came out recently about how this Keir Starmer person is directly connected to the pedophilic scandals that are happening over in the UK at the moment. So, yeah, pretty interesting that I was saying months ago, make sure you're thinking of King Charles when you see this guy's face. And there you go. World Economic Forum's prioritizes disinformation over economic and global stability threats. The World Economic Forum, yes, back at it again, prioritizing disinformation, which that's kind of like the main thing that they're talking about these days. Which, of course, anything that's disinformation to them is anything that you say that disagrees with what they're doing. So, and then the last article here, you may not be able to see it much because of the chat posted there on the right-hand side of the screen, but it says, TikTok restores service after U.S. shutdown amid Trump deal. And we will mention that as we move forward tonight. But yeah, TikTok was offline, now it's back. So anyway, large-scale deportations to begin Tuesday with Chicago raid. And now that this has come out, I've kind of heard that this may not actually be happening, but let's hope that to some degree it does. Here's what this says. The raid will involve 100 to 200 officers from U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Just one day after Trump is inaugurated for the second time, the new administration will kick off large-scale deportations, starting with a massive raid in Chicago. The Wall Street Journal reports, citing 4 anonymous individuals familiar with the planning. The raid, expected to begin on Tuesday morning, will involve 100 to 200 officers from the U.S. Immigration Customs Enforcement, also known as ICE, and is, of course, being reported in the Wall Street Journal, so the migrants have ample warning to relocate. So that's what they're doing. That's what I'm saying. Being how this has all come out, I'm not sure that this is going to happen and unfold the way that it's been reported. But anyway, it says, as the Journal notes further, Trump administration will target illegal immigrants with criminal backgrounds first. Many of them had offenses, quote, too minor for the Biden administration to pursue. However, any illegals that are present during a raid or an arrest, regardless of criminal history, they will be taken and deported as well. So we shall see. I got to tell you, though, the more I see this Tom Homan guy speaking, the more I like him because, man, he is seriously no nonsense. So, yeah, I think he is the right guy for the job. I know I've personally disagreed with maybe some of the picks that Trump has put out with regard to his cabinet and so forth, but I think Tom Homan seems to be the right guy for the job, if you ask me. And, we'll see how things unfold. But, yeah, sanctuary cities are in the crosshairs. In addition to Chicago, large immigrant centers such as New York, L.A., Denver, and Miami are also looking at raids of their own. To carry out these actions, Trump administration is weighing a broad mix of changes that would give sheriffs more power and reward jurisdictions that cooperate while financially punishing those which don't. Tom Homan has already threatened to throw the mayor of Denver in jail. So there you go. So we'll see how it all unfolds. It appears the deportation war will be starting very, very soon. And of course, going back to what we talked about at the beginning of the show here, with the people with the fully armed garbage trucks and blowing things up and who knows what. I mean, if that gives them an excuse, if they really needed an excuse, I guess that might be a good one. We'll see. But, large-scale deportations to begin very soon. So I think that's good news. TikTok restores U.S. service after Trump offers more time to comply with the law. So, yeah, they had shut it down earlier today. It says TikTok on Sunday restored service to users in the U.S. after a brief shutdown after President-elect Trump vowed to issue an executive order temporarily allowing the social media app to keep operating despite a law banning it as long as it is Chinese-controlled. But, of course, note, Joe Biden and Hunter Biden and all of the rest of the administration, many of the people in Congress who are owned by the Chinese, they can operate just fine. Doesn't matter. But no, TikTok can't, which is pretty ridiculous. Says, we thank President Trump for providing the necessary clarity and assurance to our service providers that they will face no penalties providing TikTok to over 170 million Americans and allowing over 7 million small businesses to thrive, TikTok said in a statement. So that was earlier today. So yeah, TikTok was down and now it's back up. Anyways, he has stated that he wants the U.S. to have a 50% ownership stake in it. Here's where that is. It says, I would like the United States to have a 50% ownership position in a joint venture. By doing this, we save TikTok, keep it in good hands, which I guess he means the U.S. government, and allow it to stay up. Without U.S. approval, there is no TikTok. So, yeah, I mean, there are a lot of small businesses actually that do rely on it. So I would say just from that standpoint, it's probably good to keep it rolling. And my position on that has not changed at all. I think that, if parents want to keep their kids off of it, that's probably the way to go versus having the United States government ban it. I think that's a bad situation and a bad habit to get into. But anyway, there's your TikTok update. And let's see. This article here on the Liberty Beacon also is one I thought was worth mentioning. Federal Reserve withdraws from Global Climate Group as Trump assumes power. Interesting that they're voluntarily doing this without him forcing the issue. Federal Reserve withdraws from Global Climate Group as Trump assumes power. The NGFS, composed of global central banks and supervisors, aims to integrate climate and environmental risk management into the financial sector. U.S. Federal Reserve is exiting a global climate change coalition before the new Trump administration takes power tomorrow. Federal Reserve has joined the network of central banks and supervisors for greening the financial system. How about that name? In December 2020, NGFS, composed of global central banks and supervisors, aims to integrate climate and environmental risk management into the financial sector and mobilize finance to support the transition toward a sustainable economy, which of course is World Economic Forum and Agenda 2030 front and center, right? On Friday, the Federal Reserve announced its withdrawal from the 143-member coalition. So I think that's good news. We'll see where it goes, of course. But yeah, that's at least in part so they can, based on your social credit score and your climate score that you have, see how much, maybe how much meat you can buy or how much gasoline you can put in your car or whether you can even have a car or whatever. How many energy credits you're going to get. So you can see how all this stuff is tied directly to your digital monetary system. So anyways, that is one of the articles here on Liberty Beacon. And one more from this site. U.S. suspends EcoHealth Alliance Peter Daszak after COVID-19 evidence surfaces. So interesting. EcoHealth Alliance, the nonprofit that Dr. Fauci used to offshore risky gain-of-function research 6 months before the Obama administration banned it, has finally been cut off by the U.S. government, along with its former president, Peter Daszak, for a period of 5 years following scrutiny over its work in Wuhan ahead of the C-19 pandemic. Yeah, so anyway, kind of interesting. We'll see where it goes. But like most things, don't hold your breath, right? So, but he's out at the moment. Suspended, as it were. All right, and then Zero Hedge article that I thought I would mention. Nearly half of federal employees say that they plan to resist Trump's incoming administration. Half of the federal employees that are out there are going to resist Trump. Maybe they should no longer get a paycheck for a while. See what happens. A poll conducted by RMG Research reveals a startling number of federal government managers who say they will actively oppose the incoming administration when Donald Trump is inaugurated on January 20th. The Daily Signal reports the RMG Research has polled 3 separate segments of the population, including what it calls the elite 1% with postgraduate degrees, there you go, earning more than $150,000 annually and live in highly populated areas, Main Street Americans, who represent roughly 75% of the U.S. population, and finally, federal managers who live near the nation's capital and earn $75,000 or more annually. When asked if they would most likely be supporting or resisting the Trump administration over the next 4 years, government managers were almost evenly split, with 44% saying that they would support the administration and 42% saying they would resist. So there you go. But the divide between the federal managers who would resist and those who would support the incoming Trump administration grew much sharper when respondents were questioned along party lines, which not too surprising there. So there's that. And then that makes me remember that I also had pulled this article up. It's really just more of a comment than anything, but I thought this was pretty interesting and I think also very apropos to the story we just read. Says the theory on the Trump official portrait confirmed by original photographer. This photo is carefully crafted to send a message to every federal employee and service member. Do what the American people sent me to do, or I will rip your throat out. Portrait photographer's response: you understood each idea and design with purpose. Many others haven't captured my thoughts like that. So that is what the official photographer has stated about the brand new Trump official portrait, presidential portrait. So I just thought I would mention that because it kind of goes hand in hand with the article from Zero Hedge we were just talking about here. So pretty wild. We'll see how brave these federal employees are and see what they're going to do. Decision to cancel outdoor inauguration events, weather or security related, plus other security concerns. So this is an article on Threadreader app. Over the last 24 hours, numerous colleagues and friends have asked me, this is this lady, Susan Crabtree, who wrote this article, have asked me what Secret Service sources are saying about the cancellation of outdoor events for Trump's inauguration. I will give you the unvarnished report of what I'm hearing, while being extremely sensitive about trying not to make attendees more jittery than they already are. Most U.S. Secret Service sources I've discussed this with are sticking to the stiff upper lip, curt response that cancellations are simply weather-related. But a few sources that I trust have said that the extreme weather is good cover to make things much safer because of the heightened security environment. The Secret Service has a zero-fail mission. There's absolutely no room for errors. The USSS operates in extreme weather environments all the time, but it's different when you have hundreds or thousands, if not more people, converging near a protectee at an outdoor event after 2 assassination attempts and several long-term threats. And it says what the FBI said Monday, that it was not tracking any credible threats against the inauguration, was laughable, especially after the ISIS-inspired terrorist who slammed into a crowd on New Year's Eve in New Orleans. Trust in the FBI has been completely eroded. Even at Jimmy Carter's ceremonial lying in wait at the Capitol, there were 2 lone actors at the U.S. police interdicted trying to disrupt the event. And this wasn't really widely reported. I knew about this, but I'm not sure if you guys had heard this or not. One person had a machete, and another person tried to blow up his car near the Capitol. U.S. Capitol Police Chief Thomas Manger said on Monday, the last inauguration that was conducted inside the Capitol was Ronald Reagan's second swearing in. Reagan was the only other president in the last 4 decades to have been shot and nearly killed by a would-be assassin. It occurred during his first term. Is this simply a coincidence? After what I heard from sources, I don't believe it is. I'm told by a well-positioned source that there have been deep concerns among some federal law enforcement officials about the open spaces surrounding the Capitol where the ticket-holding inauguration attendees were supposed to be sitting, whether that area or any area around the Capitol is going to be open to the public, and if so, why there are no magnometers being positioned to screen people before they're let in. Secret Service sources tell me there will be no one allowed in these open spaces in the mall next to the Capitol, and they will have numerous post standers guarding the perimeter with many security sweeps near the Capitol complex. Everyone inside the Capitol except members of Congress and Supreme Court justices will be screened through magnometers. So none of the None of the Supreme Court justices and none of the members of Congress will be scanned. Interesting, huh? If anyone tries to climb the fence with apparent or obvious lethal force, either what looks like an explosive vest or a gun drawn to get into any of these areas, they will be shot on the spot. Secret Service sources are telling me this is one likely reason why a dozen police departments are reportedly refusing to help provide security for the inauguration. They don't like the Secret Service's aggressive rules of engagement. Yeah, and they also saw what happened on January 6th, 2021. So anyways, you can see there's some further info here, a little bit more, and a video embedded. So video showing parade fencing in the D.C. area being deconstructed this morning. So yeah, if you can believe this, no reporters on the Secret Service press conference call asked about drone mitigation during a 45-minute call. No one. Yeah, the drones. What happened to the drones? Anyway, so yeah, that's pretty interesting take, I think. So that's on the Threadreader app. And next article I pulled up, LA's Mayor Karen Bass, her office has been hit with scandals over hush money, bribes, and accusations of legalized corruption. Good old LA Mayor Karen Bass got into office promoting diversity, equity, and inclusion and promising to tackle homelessness and pollution, but she never promised to drain the swamp. She looks like she might be a swamp monster herself. Now she stands accused of adding to it through legalized corruption and a number of eye-opening scandals which have come to light after renewed scrutiny in the last 2 weeks following the revelation that Bass and her cronies defunded the LA Fire Department by $17 million, contributing to them being underprepared to tackle the wildfires currently destroying the city. Yeah. But again, she has the right skin color. It's okay if she does it. There you go. You think if she was first of all, if she was a white guy, she wouldn't even be in that position. But if she was, if she was a he, do you think that he would get away with it? Especially if he had an R by his name? I think not. Anyway, just a guess. But that's an article, believe it or not, on MSN. And then another Zero Hedge article, progressive congressional staffers throw tantrum, demand a 32-hour work week. Isn't that nice? Have you done that at your job? Demanded a 32-hour work week? And your boss would just laugh at you? With many Americans working 2 jobs just to make ends meet, mollycoddled progressive staffers on Capitol Hill are now demanding a 32-hour work week. Yeah, they're afraid Trump's going to overwork them, make them work 40 whole hours. Or probably even come back to the office because they're used to working at home all the time. In a letter to top House and Senate leaders Thursday, Congressional Progressive Staff Association proposed establishing a rotating 32-hour work week on the Hill, claiming that reduced hours could improve worker satisfaction, increase staff retention in Congress, and model a more sustainable approach to work on a national level. There you go. And probably they want to raise, too, is my guess. Yeah. How about that? I thought that was a pretty good report on the whole J6 and pipe bomb situation. Not sure if you guys have been following the pipe bomb aspect of it. Most people are just paying attention to the J6ers themselves, rightfully so. But yeah, I think it remains to be seen, obviously, what happens with Trump and is he going to pardon the J6ers? Hopefully he will right away. And, we'll see what happens. It's something that he mentioned in the speech tonight that he gave. So he just said that he believed that 99.9% of people will be, at least the people in that auditorium will be happy with the way he's decided to handle it. So we will see. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, back to the 32-hour work week for the folks in D.C. I mean, how ridiculous is this? Anyways, it says, under the proposal, congressional staffers would still work long hours when their boss is around, but when Congress is in session, district office staffers would be entitled to an abbreviated 20% lighter schedule, and when it is not, DC-based staff would have a lighter week. We do not want a 32-hour work week to just be another special benefit for congressional staff, the group said in its letter requesting the special benefit. We hope that by adopting this policy, members of Congress can help to advance the discussion around a more sustainable work week as a national priority and model how it can work for private and public employers across the country and the world. So yes, to me, if you're working 40 hours a week, you're already only working part-time. All right? I come at that, obviously, from a business owner who works way more than 40 hours a week oftentimes. And, it's just so ridiculous that these people are whining about their work week. And I don't know that it mentions it in this article, but I have mentioned it before on the broadcast that many of these government people who are supposed to be working at the office are only required to actually be at the office 1 day per month. So what they do is they go in and work at the office that 1 day, the last day of the month, and then they stay over and work the next day. So say the 31st and then the 1st. They work those 2 days, and then they take 2 more months off. And then they show up again a couple months later on the last day of the month. So yeah. So they know how to game the system is what I'm saying. And they think that they're working too hard. I vote you just fire him. How about that? Start there. All right, let's see. Zero Hedge, another article from another good source here. Illegal immigrants have begun deporting themselves. So we mentioned the deporting of the illegals earlier. I think you should just cut off the funding, start there, and then see what happens. I think a lot of them will self-deport. Illegals in the U.S. have started self-deporting ahead of Trump taking office, according to an immigration attorney. So this attorney says that there's been a surge in immigrants voluntarily leaving, with Trump's promised mass deportations on the horizon, and with Mexico agreeing to take non-Mexican deportees. Another driving factor is that Cuba and Venezuela generally do not accept deportation flights from the U.S., but may accept them from Mexico. So get them to Mexico first. I guess that's the key there. And then the quote here says, this is causing many migrants to leave on their own, knowing that they're going to be deported to their home country or be deported to Mexico. The overwhelming majority of them do not want to be in Mexico. So, again, I think, a lot of these people who are self-deporting are probably not necessarily the huge criminals and rapists and murderers and stuff, but still, though, you got to start somewhere, right? The door's right there. See yourself out, Trump says. Yeah, and then here's a video here with border czar Tom Homan as well. So anyway, more info on this Zero Hedge article. And like all the other articles that I mentioned tonight, we will post links for all of these things on the Substack list. So make sure you're on that list if you're not already. If you're new to the show, welcome. And know that you can get on the Substack list using the link in the upper right corner up there in the black box, diamonddisc.substack.com. Totally free. And you can get on that list and you'll get the links that I send out. It'll be on Tuesday. It's pretty much been a fairly regular thing at this point. Is Tuesday seems to be the day of the week where I'm able to get the show finished up as far as the final edited version that's put back on YouTube. And so you'll get that link as well as the links to all these articles that I mentioned. But Mondays, so tomorrow, will be the day where the full version of this show will be available on all the other platforms, such as it'll be on Facebook, it will be on Rumble, it will be on Brighteon and BitChute. So in those 4 places tomorrow afternoon or evening at some point, as soon as I can get it finished up. So anyway, just thought I would mention that for you guys who aren't necessarily familiar with how this show works. So yeah, this show won't stay up after tonight because I have to edit out all the medical misinformation. Otherwise, I'll have a strike in the morning from YouTube. Even though we're live as of right now on this broadcast, obviously, even though there's some things that you can and can't say on YouTube, the live stream aspect of it seems to be, for the most part, pretty open and free. It's just that once the processing starts and the algorithms start looking at what you've said in a recording, so you're finished with your live stream and now it's being analyzed, that's when the trouble starts. So I realized this some time ago. So because of that, I delete it before it could be processed. So then I go back and upload a cleaned up version, where the medical misinformation, which is just anything that I criticize about vaccines and things like that, has been removed, and that's the version that goes back on YouTube. But the full version will be on those other platforms, Rumble, BitChute, Brighteon, Facebook. Those will be the full versions of this show. Anyway, and then I wanted to mention this article, even though it's kind of old news really at this point, but says TikTok goes dark in the U.S. We are fortunate that President Trump has indicated that he will work with us on a solution to reinstate TikTok once he takes office, the company said in a notice on their app. But obviously, that's old news. It's already back up and running. But I thought it was funny because somewhere I saw that it said that because TikTok is now offline, that the average attention span in the U.S. is now expected to increase from that of a goldfish to a squirrel. So there you go. I thought that was funny. But yeah, it is back up and running, so we're back to the goldfish now. So there you go. Anyway, that was a Politico article. And then another MSN one. Biden won't enforce TikTok ban, officials says, leaving fate of the app up to Trump, which he's already brought it back. We already know this. So I'll kind of skip that one, but just know that those articles were out there. Post-millennial article, Pelosi to skip Trump's inauguration. A spokesperson confirmed that she will not be in attendance. Yeah, I've heard that, or seen pictures even, that she's been hobbling around with her walker recently because she's had the hip injury and so forth. So I don't know. That's probably what she's going to use as the reason. Of course, how she can get around in the Capitol Rotunda, I don't know. I mean, it seems to me like she probably could if she really wanted to, but who cares? It is Pelosi we're talking about. So anyway, that is an article on Post-Millennial. And then let's see. Let's take a look at Hollywood Reporter. I found this article. I didn't really know that this happened. You guys may have already known this. David Lynch, famous director, has passed away. He died at 78 with such hallucinogenic masterworks as Eraserhead, Blue Velvet, Mulholland Drive, Twin Peaks, and The Elephant Man. He often left more questions than answers. So for you David Lynch fans out there, he has passed away. So I'm not necessarily a David Lynch fan, but I remember Twin Peaks was really bizarre, and I remember seeing that. That was the first and only thing that I paid attention to as a kid when it was out on TV, and I remember thinking, man, the music for this show is really good. But beyond that, I had no idea what the heck was going on and didn't really care. But I know some people really like his films. So anyway, there you go. So he's moved on to the great unknown. So anyways, thought I would mention that. And then let's see, a couple RT articles. TikTok praises Trump for rescue. U.S. President-elect Trump has promised social media platform another 90 days to find an American buyer. But again, what we mentioned before was that he wants the U.S. to take a 50% ownership stake in the company. We will see how that actually works out. Who knows? And again, with Keir Starmer, here he is again, Trump to freeze out UK Prime Minister. The U.S. President-elect's inner circle reportedly sees Keir Starmer as, quote, irrelevant and not a priority. So I like that. Yeah. That also means that he would see King Charles III as irrelevant and not a priority. So there you go. I think that's good news. So anyways, it says some of Trump's allies are reportedly seeing Nigel Farage as a potential successor to Starmer. I doubt that. I doubt that very seriously. With the newspaper describing the move as revenge for Labor's actions, Farage is expected to attend Trump's inauguration. So, along with former Prime Ministers Liz Truss and Boris Johnson. So there you go. Group of winners there, huh? So anyway, that is an article on RT, and then this one as well. Trump meme coin crashes after Melania launches her own. The future First Lady's coin is not intended as an investment, its website insists, amid meteoric rise. Controversial meme coin launched by U.S. President Donald Trump earlier this week suffered a sharp 40% drop in value on Sunday following the debut of a competing token by the future First Lady Melania. So how about that? Melania introduced her meme coin to her 3.4 million followers on X on Sunday, gaining immediate traction. Promoted across her social media accounts, the meme coin reached a $4 billion market cap within 30 minutes of its release. Wow. Trump retweeted her post, further amplifying the token's visibility. It says within an hour, the Melania token attracted nearly 20,000 investors, causing significant volatility in the crypto market. Meanwhile, the Trump coin, valued at $15 billion earlier in the day, lost $5 billion in market capitalization, according to CoinMarketCap data. So there you go. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I don't really care about the whole electronic monetary system, but obviously they're cashing in here, I suppose. So, and then another article here about a story that you may have heard about. Bill Gates has had a big meeting with Trump recently, and that's what this article is talking about. Bill Gates unveils details of intriguing dinner with Trump. The billionaire said he was impressed by the U.S. president-elect's interest in his healthcare innovation proposals. I think that's bad news. Billionaire Bill Gates has discussed how lessons from could be used to accelerate innovation, quote unquote, in addressing other global health challenges with U.S. President-elect Donald Trump, according to an interview with Microsoft founder and advocate has given to the Wall Street Journal. So I think that is bad news. So we'll see. Obviously, we weren't there. We don't know what was said. We don't know how much deference he was given. But, man, what a criminal. But I'm sure also, to some degree, Trump probably feels like he, has to meet with anybody and everybody. And obviously, he's a big donor, I'm sure, to both political parties, even though he would be more of way more of a leftist type of person. But, yeah. And then there's a video clip here of him talking about the 3-hour dinner that he had with Trump. So accelerated the innovation and urged Trump to take a similar approach with her. So how about that? So that seems to be the next push that Gates is going for here. Why the HIV push? I mean, who knows? Whatever this little evil emperor is up to, but I don't think it's good news. I don't think it is at all. And I mentioned the council before on this show, and just thought I would say that hopefully it is good riddance to all or most of these people here. This is the actual people that have been the president of the United States over the last 4 years. Many faces that you've seen before, and most of them, if not all of them, will be on their way out. I think that's good news. Yeah, and then People's Voice TV, top headlines on that site. British government blocks law outlawing cousin marriages to appease Muslim voters. Because if you're a Muslim, apparently you want to marry your cousin. I don't know. I guess that's how that works. So they're blocking the law outlawing cousin marriages. So Keir Starmer is all about that, apparently. And then Washington Post cartoonist who called Pizzagate a conspiracy theory arrested on, Guess what? Child porn charges. Pizzagate was a conspiracy theory, but he's guilty of having child porn on his devices. There you go. Trudeau accused of ushering Canada toward legitimate communism. So legitimate communism in Canada. That's what Trudeau wants. Well, he does come from a long line of communism, meaning his father, and that would be one Fidel Castro. You may have heard of him. British MP blows the whistle. My colleagues are elite pedophiles who drink babies' blood. So, some truth coming out here. That's good. British MP. Andrew Bridgen is who that is. So there's an article about that. And then Epstein's cellmate says feds offered a plea deal if he helped to frame Trump. Offered a plea deal to Epstein, I guess. He was offered a sweetheart plea deal in exchange for framing then President Trump, according to Epstein's former cellmate. Wow. Report CIA used behavioral brainwashing techniques on unaware U.S. citizens. CIA illegally used mind control techniques on unaware U.S. citizens, according to a newly released National Security Archive, NSA, report. The CIA conducted terrifying experiments using drugs, hypnosis, isolation, sensory deprivation, and other extreme measures. Wow. Sounds like a cult. That's what they do in cults, isn't it? It is the CIA, after all. Clowns in action. RFK vows to ban Big Pharma from advertising on U.S. television, which that all started with the Clinton administration. Didn't used to be able to advertise drugs, and that forever changed everything because they came in and took over all advertising for the most part. That's why all of the ads you see on TV these days is pretty much Big Pharma related. So if you got that out of media, I think that would help free up some of the criticism that they are definitely due. So we'll see. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has vowed to completely ban Big Pharma from advertising on TV in the U.S. within weeks of Trump entering the White House. We'll see. Let's hope it happens. Trump's new crypto meme coin hits $36 billion overnight, which we mentioned that earlier. Scientists raise alarm over use of mosquitoes to ensnare humans. Again, going back to Bill Gates. Bill Gates has been very, very excited about ensnare humans in general, but even using mosquitoes to do that is something he's been all about. Mike Johnson says Biden didn't know that he signed an executive order banning natural gas exports. Yeah, I saw a video on this earlier, and he goes into quite a bit of detail here, how he was told by Biden, he finally got a meeting with Biden after he became the Speaker of the House, and got him one-on-one and told him what he'd signed, and Biden says, no, I didn't sign that, and he says, yes, you did. I can have it printed and show you this is what you signed. He has no idea. He was just given the papers and told to sign it, and he signed it. Was an executive order. So, anyway, yeah, obviously he had no clue. But remains to be seen, as far as some of those things that can be reversed, hopefully, when Trump gets in there. We'll see. Trump plans to save TikTok, give the U.S. 50% ownership. That's top headline on Information Liberation. It's talking about the meme coin. Supreme Court unanimously upholds sweeping TikTok ban. I find that sort of interesting, but makes me wonder who's on whose payroll on that. But anyway, journalist dragged out of press conference for confronting Antony Blinken on the Gaza genocide. Wow. And then more about TikTok, more about Netanyahu here, bombing the people in Gaza as soon as the ceasefire happens. So yeah, I guess when you have a ceasefire, it's pretty much always just going to be, means bomb them more, kill more people. Apparently. And then WNG.org, I found this article and thought it was kind of interesting, thought we'd look at it. Christian tech company purchases ministry-focused AI chatbot. AI chatbot. for the ministry. Okay. Tech outreach group Gloo, Gloo, how about that name? Gloo, on Tuesday acquired an artificial intelligence chatbot specifically designed for ministries to engage users visiting their online platforms 24/7. Faith Assistant, previously known as Bible Chat AI, how about that for a name, is uniquely trained and deployed by individual churches and ministries, Gloo explained. Gloo. Gloo sounds like the name of like a fallen angel or something. I don't know. The program learns and adapts in order to answer questions from users, recommend resources, and connect users with staff or volunteers standing by. The company plans to offer both paid and free subscription options with varying features, according to a news release. Gloo described itself as a mission-minded technology platform aimed at connecting the widespread Christian church. Faith Assistant aligns with the company's mission to employ AI for redemptive purposes, Gloo's chief AI officer said in a company news release. Yeah, and then it says, how are users reacting? Emily Herring, digital content director at Texas-based KCBI Radio, said Faith Assistant's analytics helped the Christian radio station better understand its audience. The program helped the station evolve how it engages both listeners and donors and allows the platform to support and serve audience members at any time. However, some church members remain wary of AI crossing paths with religion. Rightfully so. The Barna Group partnered with Gloo to conduct a 2023 survey, and they found that only 22% of Christians agreed that AI would be good for the church. So I guess that's good news. Just over 50% disagreed that AI would be good for the church, while nearly 30% reported that they were unsure. Anyway, I thought that was kind of interesting and very strange. But yeah, it makes sense. I mean, churches are going to be employing AI more and more, I think. Not only answering phones, but doing exactly what was talked about in that article. All right, and then speaking of churches, I thought this was interesting. Pure blasphemy. Trump may take the oath of office on a new limited edition Trump Bible, according to singer Lee Greenwood. A new limited edition Trump Bible. Okay, so let's hear what it has to say here.
What a privilege, and here we are inside the Capitol Arena. We stepped out of the snow. It's nice and dry in here, and there's an electric excitement inside this arena. And as you said, when Donald Trump puts his hand on the Bible and swears the oath to take care of the country, and he's the 47th President of the United States, I'm hoping it'll be this Bible, which is released tomorrow as a tribute to Donald Trump, the 47th President. It's GodBlessUSABible.com. There are only going to be 5,000 of these. And I know he's going to take the oath by putting his hand on several Bibles. He might do this one as well.
You know, Lee, when I teased earlier that, hey, maybe Lee will sing us out in a bit when he joins us, a viewer wrote in and said, no, he needs to save his boys for inauguration. So we'll let you decide on that front.
Well, there you go. How about that? Lee Greenwood and Donald Trump have their own Bible. Okay. So I was just looking at some of the comments here. Blasphemy is about the Holy Spirit. Don't like having to defend Donald Trump. Do not blaspheme the Holy Spirit. It's a Christian belief that states that blasphemy against the Holy Spirit is an unforgivable sin. So that is one comment on here. It is normal that a Bible that includes the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution on the back, he dedicates the Bible with a verse and a signature like a gift. He didn't rewrite the Bible. Stop trying to demonize him. So that's a good point. He didn't actually rewrite it, but he's got his name on it. So anyways, there's what Elmo thinks about it. So anyways, I think that's kind of interesting. We'll see what happens. I'd be surprised if he actually has that Bible in his hand while he's taking the oath, but of course, we may never know. But anyway, we'll take a look at the next article here. According to Daily Mail and many other places, Trump is saying that he's going to release the JFK assassination files, also RFK and Martin Luther King Jr. Going to release all of the assassination files within days of taking office. Seems like he said something like that before, and it never happened. So we shall see. I don't know. It would be a welcome thing to happen. I think that truth needs to come out. Just earlier in the week, this week, there was a brand new 1972 tape recording that was released that had to do with some very wealthy Texas families. And at one time, one of the wealthiest families in Texas, actually, and how the male figurehead at that time, the guy, the main person in that family, was the kind of a right arm type of person for Lyndon Baines Johnson. And he and LBJ worked together very closely, and he basically did anything and everything LBJ told him to do. And it came out that the recordings from 1972 that were released earlier in the week from this family basically accused and stated very clearly that it was LBJ that coordinated the assassination of JFK, which is what many of us already knew, but this is further evidence, further proof. And it's good that that information's coming out. I think that truth needs to happen, just like the moon landing fraud needs to come out too. So anyway, it's kind of a separate issue, but it's not. So anyway, this article here is on the Daily Mail. It's talking specifically about JFK files, but he's actually mentioned JFK, RFK, MLK. So we'll see what happens. And then PJ Media, stunner, why was Pacific Palisades Reservoir empty? ? It gets worse. So yeah, and I had to look at this just to see what the worst part could possibly be. And let me see if I can find it. So it had to do with the cover that they had for the water. Yeah, here. It says the New York Times reports that a contractor was hired in November to fix a crack in the cover. It is unclear why the reservoir had to be shut down for that extended period of time. Yeah, it closed in February 2024. So the ripple effect was beyond devastating. The empty reservoir wasn't caused by climate change. It was caused by Democrats. Yeah. So there it is there with zero water in it. Was it 117 million gallons or something? Yeah. Santa Ynez Reservoir was empty and down for maintenance because there was a crack in the cover. How about that? Not too surprising. It is Gavin Newsom's state we're talking about here. All right, and then another Zero Hedge article. LA County Inferno expected to top $250 billion in losses. I think that number is still rolling. It says a week after devastating inferno leveled large swaths of Pacific Palisades and Altadena to ash, LA County remained under a severe fire threat on Wednesday morning. Residents have been left in a state of shock, expressing frustration over what many see as possible negligence by county and or state officials to mitigate the spread of the fires. The fires have become the region's worst fire disaster in history, with new damage and economic loss estimates between 250 and 275 billion. So, yeah, I've heard that it was even higher than that, but I don't think they could possibly know. But of course, it will be, pennies on the dollar to the people who actually own property there, because they're going to try and buy them out. Mark my words. And speaking of which, this came from Wall Street Apes Twitter account, but this is exactly what they're talking about. Former Wall Street broker Ross Mandel says that the LA Pacific Palisades fires were planned. He says, I'm going to shock you. People from BlackRock are going door to door offering to buy homes. This is highly organized. Well, how do they go door to door when there's no doors? They've literally all burned down. It's just a pile of white ash at this point. But anyways, that's what this guy's saying. You think this happened by accident? The dams have been emptied by Governor Newsom for no good reason. The hydrants are empty for no good reason. 3 months ago, State Farm, the big insurer in LA, just happened to cancel everybody's fire policies because the governor decided not to allow State Farm to increase their prices. So people now have no insurance. Do you think that this happened by accident? This guy says. BlackRock is going door to door making offers now for cash. Generous. They want to take everybody's homes. This is the business they're in. It's not a secret. It's been highly organized. So yeah, it's what we've been talking about, and we knew this was coming, just like Lahaina. And I made a post on Facebook a few days ago now, kind of recounting that not only Lahaina, but the same thing happened near Santiago, Chile, about a year ago, where everything was reduced, was burned down and reduced to white ash again. And I will try and remember and make a link to the video from about a year ago that was from the Diamond Report, where we talked about plasma fires. And everybody's talking right now about DEWs, DEWS, directed energy weapons. And this particular video from the Diamond Report from about a year ago, I think it was February of 2024, when the Chile fires happened. You may remember that. We talked about plasma fires, and I showed a whole 20-minute video of what plasma fires were versus directed energy weapons. And it's a very similar type of thing, but it only affected the structures that had metal throughout them, which is what also helps to explain why the cars were so badly melted, and the windshields were all melted, and the aluminum rims that aren't supposed to melt, with at least 1,300 degrees Fahrenheit, they were just rivers of molten aluminum, basically, and how plasma fires are so hot that this helps explain what's going on. So I would just ask you to take a look at that. I will remember and put a link to that particular show, the Rumble version of it that has the full video in there. We'll do that in the Substack post from the Diamond Report back in February last year. So I just think that it's a good time to mention that, because that's the same thing that happened in Chile, which is the same thing that happened in Lahaina, which is now the same thing that's happened in Los Angeles. So it is not a coincidence, is it? All right, and then next article here, we have the good pastor here, Pastor Brandon, says Christian preacher who foresaw events in Butler, PA, is seeing massive explosions in D.C. on Inauguration Day. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning of this show, and we showed the clip of him talking about this, he doesn't actually say that it's all going to happen on Inauguration Day. He's just saying that he saw it happening. I tend to believe him. I think he's probably right, but we don't know when. It could be any time in the next few weeks, months, year. We don't know. I don't think he knows either. But he didn't mention when. Anyway, so that's one of the articles and videos, Pastor Brandon Biggs talking about those very things on ForbiddenKnowledgeTV.net. And then this is another story that I mentioned earlier. This is this same creepy guy, Jamie Manina, can't seem to catch a break. He keeps getting caught by his political foes exploiting his risky online dating behavior. Yeah, first it was 15-year-olds, and now it's another little bit older person, we assume. But he's telling her that they're going to try and stop Trump. Same DOD official in coup plot against Trump caught on tape soliciting underage girl for sex. Yeah, 15-year-old. Nice, huh? So again, former Hillary Clinton campaign person, Hillary Clinton. DOD person. The Obama military purge, and Area 51 responsible for LA fires, which is another one of these articles and videos here on this site, ForbiddenKnowledgeTV.net. You can take that for what it's worth. I think there's some decent stuff here worth taking a look at. And there's even more here about the LA fires. So feel free to look at that one if you guys want to. And then Leo Hohmann's articles for this week. Got a couple new ones. Mike Pence is a gutless servant of the global Luciferian death cult who claims to be pro-life. So that's the top article. Not leaving much to the imagination there, but I guess you can kind of figure out what that's going to be about. What is World War III really being fought over and why? So that's the top two articles on leohohmann.com. And then his Substack is usually pretty good as well, and often has different articles on it. He's got one on the whole Gates thing here. It's all a game. Both sides serve the same master, which is Luciferian beast system. What states have the most gun owners? And United Nations renews push for globalized digital marketing system to deal with, quote, emergencies. So, and then there's more on his Substack as well. So highly recommend that one, and he always puts out good info. Natural news articles. Most recent stories on here. Sadiq Khan faces scrutiny over reluctance to address questions about grooming gangs, which that's the big story over there. The Muslim rapist grooming gangs, which is the reason Tommy Robinson's in prison again. Germany's nuclear paradox, importing expensive power after shutting down its own reactors. And then got one here on glyphosate. Deadly chemical herbicide glyphosate gets doused onto U.S. wheat, barley, rye, and beans as a drying agent before harvest. Yeah, that's something that we had done some various stories, some shows on Lost Arts Radio a few years ago, so I was actually familiar with that. Yeah, glyphosate is used as a drying agent on wheat in particular. So that's why I pretty much try and not ever eat anything that's wheat bread, because it's been heavily doused with glyphosate. I don't know if you guys knew that. And some further articles on this site. They always have some good info on here, naturalnews.com. And then I wanted to mention my good friend, Mr. Dane Wigington, is on with Mike Adams this week. And they did an hour discussion here on not just the LA fires, it says, but we must stop the biosphere destruction or perish. Final Earth warning with Mike Adams and Dane Wigington. I thought it was a good discussion, and they have kind of an interesting back and forth. And Mike's videos that he's doing now, I mean, most of these interview videos, a lot of them are, he's using an AI system to generate much of the artwork in it. So it gives it kind of a unique look, and it literally is generating the visuals about the subject matter that they're talking about while they're talking about it. So it's kind of wild how it works. I've heard him explain it a little bit before, and I can tell just by watching it, when I've seen some of his other videos, that that's what's going on. So he's using AI in kind of an inventive, informative way. So I think that's good. I think what he's trying to do with AI is very different than what, like for instance, the church thing we were talking about earlier, or some of the other companies out there who are using AI for more nefarious type things. But I feel like Mike Adams is trying to use it in a way that is a good thing. So we'll see what happens. But I just wanted to mention that the interview was out there, and it is on Brighteon. We'll link to this in the Substack post that I put out on Tuesday. So there's that. And then a couple Wine Press news articles I pulled up. Departing National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan warns of potential unexpected event in the next few days. Yeah, in the final week of the Biden administration, exiting National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan provided a cryptic warning in one of his final addresses to the nation, claiming an unexpected event could occur soon. Yeah, he did say that. Sullivan made his remarks during a press conference on Monday with Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre. Sullivan gave a short speech listing all the accomplishments of the Biden administration. I bet that was a short list. From economic recovery and growth, strengthened relations with allies, and the strategic weakening of so-called adversaries, among other issues. What a joke. Sullivan remarked, "Are our alliances stronger Yes, are our adversaries weaker and under greater pressure even as they align more closely? Yes, he says. He added, suffice it to say it's been an action-packed 4 years. But if you take stock of where America stands today, I believe deeply that the incoming administration is starting with a very strong hand. So that's what he's saying. They're going to hand it over to Trump, and Trump's going to mess it all up, is what he's saying. But then he says, I will just say this one last word, which is this. I hope this is my last time at this podium. And then there's some laughter. And then he says, at least for a little while, and I don't mean that in a negative sense. I mean, the only thing that would bring me back is an unexpected event in the next few days, which, as you all know, is totally possible given everything you've seen over the course of the past years. So he's kind of criticizing his own administration, I guess. You could say that anyway. But if it is, in fact, my last time before you, I just want to say thank you for what you guys do every day. Thank you for putting up with me. It's been an honor to be able to rely and to really try to illuminate these issues through tough probing and penetrating questioning. Yeah, like he's ever gotten that from the mainstream media. Anyways, yeah, he's just saying, be prepared. I might be back in a few days if something unexpected happens. So pretty interesting. A lot of people are raising their eyebrows on that one, for sure. That's a Wine Press News article. And then this one as well. Trump to issue executive order to make cryptocurrency national priority. And BlackRock predicts historic year for Bitcoin. Isn't that nice? So Trump does seem to be on the electronic money bandwagon here, so I don't think that's good news, but anyway, we'll see where it goes. But yeah, executive order to make cryptocurrency a national priority. Not necessarily talking about Bitcoin, I don't think, but says as soon as January 20th, after his inauguration, soon-to-be President Trump is planning to sign an executive order that would make cryptocurrency adoption a national priority and establish a federal crypto advisory council that would work with private sector crypto firms. On the back of this news, BlackRock, which is heavily invested in cryptocurrencies, believes Bitcoin is primed for substantial growth and gains and broader acceptance in 2025. So BlackRock says it must be true, huh? And then this is the last Wine Press News article I've pulled up for tonight. FDA considers a rule to force front of packaging nutrition labeling. It would only list saturated fat, sodium, and added sugar percentages. The Fraud and Death Administration is proposing to require a front of package nutrition label on most packaged foods to provide accessible, at-a-glance information to help consumers quickly and easily identify how foods can be part of a healthy diet. Proposed label, referred to as the nutrition info box, would detail and interpret the relative amounts of 3 nutrients: saturated fat, sodium, and added sugars in a serving of food. So, kind of interesting. Don't know if that has to do with RFK Jr. coming in or what that is exactly, but my guess is probably so. I don't think the Fraud and Death Administration would necessarily volunteer that information, if you know what I mean.
Starting after the Paradise Fire of 2018, many with a memory started noticing things that didn't seem normal. And the media told us climate change. With over 40 years of experience, forensic arborist Robert Brahm has been investigating the damage from these suspicious fires since Paradise. Based on his evidence, these fires are being caused by some sort of directed energy weapon. As many of us suspected, the trees in these recent forest fires are not burning as they should be.
This is common for a horrific firestorm. This is what's left. They all look like this. There's nothing left. The twigs, the needles, the branches, even the trees will burn down, sometimes to a low stump or even a hole in the ground. Not like this one. This was the big Coffee Park fire in Santa Rosa, where 4,700 homes were turned to white ash. And look at the trees. Why aren't they missing along with the houses? Many of these are pine family relatives. Eucalyptus against that road there, or whatever that is, against the road. Those are eucalyptus back there, the round ones. Those are so flammable. A cigarette lighter in your hand can light those on fire. A green leaf, light them right on fire. The forest is primarily valley oak, blue oak, and California bay, which is a very combustible leaf. I can light them on fire again with a cigarette lighter. They didn't burn. There's a bay tree right there. The bottoms will always be burned right at ground level. No reason for that. Grass couldn't do that. You have to have a lot of flames to do that. No, they're being cooked right where they're at. This was an entire bay forest, and I couldn't find one leaf burned. And somehow the leaves turn black. You notice the bottoms of these little suckers here, they're black. Almost every tree here is a bay. They didn't burn, but the ground did. It's only a grass fire here. You can tell this was just grass, and it might have even been kept up. I don't see one burned tree. There's ponderosa pine, black oak, white oak. Well, there's a deodar cedar to the left there a little bit. That's pine family from the Himalayas. And a digger pine on the left, the big multi-branched one. Nothing wanted to burn that day, just the house. Ponderosa pine forest. Little short ones and everything. Where the flames are in the needles, they refuse to ignite. Here's your eucalyptus. It's down in the flames, refuse to burn. Upper foothill or lower pine belt here. Very flammable areas. And no, they're not burning. And look in the background. Chunks of metal everywhere.
The physics of a natural fire does not explain the way aluminum and glass have been melting.
The two fire captains told me in their combined 60 years, they've never, ever seen a window melt out. Incidentally, every fire I've been to, all these 120 trips, not one window has been intact. Every single one has melted out. No exceptions. There's your aluminum. What's melting it this far away? Well, what's keeping it flowing? These things will flow 20 or 30 feet from a car when there's nothing on the ground to keep them melting. That's a high temperature, but they keep flowing right across the dirt.
The fires are breaking out into metallic materials.
Here's a fence line. They all look like this. Burn at the nails, burn at the ground. The only place they burn is at the ground and wherever the metals were. What fire does that? A normal fire would burn the post from the bottom up, not skip spots. No, they favor the metals, of course. This is a tall post, perhaps 5 or 6 feet high, and way up high, eye level, just the nail area burned. Here's this board. What really burned? The nails on that board. This little guardrail is a park guardrail, and actually it's all wood. There's no metal here. The cross member, the long ones, and the post are all wood. And each one was burned like this, where the screws were.
And trees are burning from the inside out.
Many trees are cooking from the inside out. They're burned on the inside, and there's no hole to get a flame in there. This thing was about 4 feet in diameter in a spring, burned from the inside out, and not one leaf burned. When you look at the cuts, this is very important. These are 90% dead. They should not have that heartwood. The dark, dark area is the heartwood. It shows me these things were cooked from the inside out.
There are many anomalies to be found in these fires.
And here's a soil bag. It still had soil in it. That was there. The tennis shoe was there. And you see the black. There's black everywhere. A cushion for your chair. I see this chainsaw in the back of this pickup truck. The window melted out at 2,500 degrees. All the tires burned completely, leaving the slinky-like steel belts. That plastic should be gone completely, down to the metals. Didn't happen.
There's so much white ash in some of these photos. It looks like the heat would have been really intense. However, it didn't reach very far.
Why is that? Why is everything reduced to white ash versus...
Well, I'm going to have to say it's because of the extreme heat. It's a different kind of flame. To me, these are microwave-based flames.
Greg Reese reporting.
Yep, there you go. I think plasma fires. Plasma fires. You could call them directed energy weapons. It probably is how it happens, but plasma fires sure explains a lot to me. And again, we'll link to the Diamond Report post from about a year ago that I put out. We'll do the Rumble version because I know it has the full version of the video at the front of the show where we're talking about plasma fires and showing examples and how, yes, it affects where the metal is. And, you know, it I think helps explain why all of the buildings that had rebar through them are the buildings that got basically incinerated down to the, just nothing but dust. down to the white powder. And to me, it explains an awful lot. So I felt like that story there kind of helps back up what we were talking about earlier as well. But Greg Reese, another good report. That one was called Directed Energy Weapons Burning Homes to Ash. So, yeah. Definitely something to look at. Plasma fires, if you didn't already know about that. So, anyway, let's take a look at the next articles we've got pulled up here. You guys may have seen this interview. It was kind of making the rounds. If you're on Twitter X, you may have seen this. Otherwise, you may not have. But I'll just mention it. And I do think it's kind of interesting. It says, a woman who confronted Gavin Newsom about dry fire hydrants reveals who the governor was actually talking to, as he insisted it was Biden on the line. And he did. He did say that. Los Angeles mother who confronted Newsom about the dry fire hydrants earlier this month amidst the wildfires revealed who the governor was actually on the phone with, as he insisted he was talking to Joe Biden. I don't know if you saw the video, but he did say that. He was talking to the president. So she pressed him on it, though. Earlier this month, Governor Gavin Newsom pretended to be on the phone with Joe Biden as an angry constituent demanded answers on his disastrous wildfire response after her daughter's school burned down. She says, Governor, you got a second? Governor, I live here, Governor. That was my daughter's school, Governor, a Pacific Palisades woman shouted as she sprinted over to confront Newsom. Newsom was about to hop into his motorcade when an angry woman caught up with him and demanded answers after LA was reduced to a pile of ashes because the city's fire hydrants were dry. I'm literally talking with the president right now, he says, to specifically answer the question of what we could do for you and your daughter, Newsom said, only he lied. Joe Biden was not on the phone, and the woman knew it. Can I hear it? Can I hear your call? Because I don't believe it, the woman said. She did say that. I'm sorry. I've tried 5 times. That's why I'm walking around trying to make the call, Newsom said, lying his face off. The woman pressed Newsom. Why isn't the president taking your call? She asked him. Because it's not going through. So I have to get cell service. There's no cell service, Newsom said. I bet she had cell service, don't you? Let's get it. I want to be here when you call the president, she said. I appreciate it. I'm doing that right now, and it's to immediately get reimbursements, individual assistance to help you out. I'm devastated for you. I'm so sorry, especially for your daughter. I have 4 kids, Newsom said. Governor, please tell me, what are you going to do with the president right now? Why were there no water in the fire hydrants, Governor? Fill the hydrants. I would fill them up personally. You know that. I would fill up the hydrants myself. But would you do that? She said. I would do whatever I can, Newsom replies. But you're not, the woman shouted. So you can see it's kind of a back and forth, and she knew she had him over the rope, had him on the ropes here. She says, but you're not, the woman shouted. But I see. Do you know that there's water dripping over there, Governor? There's water coming out of there. You can use it. I appreciate that. I'm going to make the call to address everything I can now, including making sure people are safe, Newsom said. And he opened the door to his motorcade to get away from the woman. The California mom, Rachel Darvish, told Piers Morgan that Newsom was not on the phone with Joe Biden. He was talking to his wife. There you go. He was not on the phone with the president. It was his wife. So it's all kind of come out. Didn't know if you guys knew about that, but yeah, the interaction is embedded here in a Twitter post, so you can take a look at that. I didn't pull that up, but you guys can check it out. It's pretty interesting, and it's a really good confrontation type of video. She really handled it well. Anyway, that's on Gateway Pundit, and then this one as well. I thought this was interesting. Vivek Ramaswamy expected to step down from Trump's Government Efficiency Task Force, DOGE, co-led by Elon Musk. Vivek has worn out his welcome. I wonder who he's worn it out with. Vivek Ramaswamy, biotech entrepreneur appointed by Trump to co-lead the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, alongside Elon Musk, is anticipated to step down from his role in the task force. Yes, they have another job for him. We'll talk about that in a second. Multiple sources have confirmed to CBS News that friction within DOGE may have expedited Ramaswamy's departure. Sources familiar with the internal workings of the task force claim that Musk's inner circle has grown increasingly frustrated with Ramaswamy's alleged lack of hands-on involvement. Vivek has worn out his welcome, a source close to Trump revealed. So that is interesting. Doge. So it's going to be just Elon Musk, not Ramaswamy. I wonder why. And this is what they have planned, I guess. Just in, Vivek Ramaswamy to announce run for governor of Ohio. They also have him potentially running for senator. So I don't know exactly what's going to happen here. Says Vivek will announce a run for governor for Ohio, according to Washington Post and The Hill. Rhino Governor Mike DeWine's term ends in 2026. So we got a while yet on that one. So that'll be a little bit. Anyway, so that is part of what's to be expected, I guess. At least Ramaswamy as potential governor of Ohio. And then I think the article we were just on here mentions that Ramaswamy recently met with Ohio's sitting governor, the current guy, DeWine, about the state Senate seat left vacant by J.D. Vance. So, but on Friday, DeWine announced he's appointing his lieutenant governor to the post. So Ramaswamy is not getting that gig. So anyway, kind of interesting. So that's what's going on in the Doge world. Didn't know if you guys knew about that. Watch Joe Biden delivers farewell address to the nation. I don't think anybody watched that. Did you watch it? Lectures Americans and blames the LA wildfires on climate change and more. Yeah, he will be considered the worst president in U.S. history, delivered a 17-minute farewell address to the nation from the Oval Office Wednesday evening. In the past 4 years, our democracy, we always have a democracy, has held strong, and every day I've kept my commitment to be president for all Americans, so he says, for one of the toughest periods in our nation's history, that they helped create. We've had a great partner in Vice President you-know-who, Harris. Yeah, right. Anyway, he lashed out at Trump, Musk, and Ramaswamy and others in Trump's orbit and, quote, today, an oligarchy is taking shape in America of extreme wealth, power, and influence that literally threatens our entire democracy, our basic rights and freedoms, and a fair shot for everyone to get ahead. Yeah, but of course, it's okay when he does it because he's been part of that oligarchy for many, many years, decades. Anyway. Yeah, and it says, like a true dictator, Biden called for free speech crackdowns and lashed out at big tech for giving up on fact-checking. Too funny. Anyway, so that was your comedy relief for the night from the Gateway Pundit. That was pretty interesting. And further comedy here. Report, Hunter Biden loses 200 of his artworks in California fires. Claims the value at, quote, millions of dollars. His artwork burned up. I bet that was insured, though, don't you? Let's look and see. Probably not insured by State Farm, though. Let's see. His abstract and mixed media pieces have sold for prices ranging from $75,000 to $500,000. Yeah, that's because people are using the artwork to pay him off, to get favors from his dad, who was the president. Anyways, I don't see it anywhere here where it mentions the insurance, but my guess is it was probably heavily insured. Just a guess. Maybe the morning of the fires. Yeah. Anyway, so, and then this article as well. Shameless Joe issues largest single-day clemency for criminals in American history, shattering the old record set 1 month ago by him. So, yeah, he's still at it, pardoning people. Convicts in America over the last 4 years have had no better friend than old Joe, as long as they do not oppose his regime. Yeah. So almost 2,500 criminals will get a pass from the departing White House occupant. 2,500 criminals. Yep, they're fine. I think they should all go move in with Joe. And then back to Pastor Brandon here again. Pastor who precisely predicted Trump getting shot in the ear 3 months before it happened warns of orchestrated attacks on Trump's inauguration and iconic properties in detail. Again, I think he's probably right. I think that some of what he said there may very well happen. I don't know that the timing will be what everyone's assuming, because that is literally tomorrow. I don't know that that's going to happen tomorrow, but it might happen very soon. So we'll have to keep an eye on this story. I think he's definitely in touch and in tune with what God is actually letting him know about. Anyway, so that's a Gateway Pundit article. And then one more from there. Breaking Trump to announce Sean Curran to replace Ron Rowe as Secret Service Director. Sean Curran is this guy right here. You may have seen him. President Trump will announce Sean Curran, one of the agents who surrounded him following the Butler assassination attempt, as the new Secret Service Director. Ron Rowe is the current acting Secret Service Director after Kim Cheadle resigned over the summer. Yeah, she resigned over Trump almost getting killed. Rowe is a typical Washington bureaucrat who led the bureau for this before the second assassination attempt on Trump's life during the 2024 campaign. Director Rowe was caught in a blatant lie after Trump was shot in the ear in Butler, PA. Rowe said at the time that all assets were approved for the Trump-Butler rally. Later, a whistleblower stepped forward and revealed that Rowe was personally responsible for cutting assets from Trump's Secret Service detail before the first assassination attempt. Ron Rowe needed to go, and now he's going to be replaced by this guy. Kind of interesting, huh? All right, and then article I pulled up on Truth in Media. I just thought it was kind of interesting. We won't bother watching it, but you guys can check it out if you're interested. Truthinmedia.com. Biden weighs preemptive pardons for Fauci, Schiff, and Liz Cheney, but for what? I think that this probably isn't happening just because it's really too late. We'll see if he does it at the 11th hour. I guess he has until 11 a.m. or so tomorrow, so we'll see how it plays out. Activist Post articles, Joe Biden's bizarro world of foreign policy, quote, achievements. We were kind of talking about that earlier. Biden's farewell boasts ring hollow as his foreign policy missteps, from emboldening Iran and Hamas to the chaotic Afghanistan withdrawal, undermine his claims of global achievement. Departing President Biden, fake President Biden, offered a farewell brag this week to his State Department about how his tenure had improved America's stature abroad. I mean, nobody believes that. No one. I mean, maybe he does, but he's the only one. Here's another article. RIP DEI. Question mark. That would be nice. 2024 Hero of the Year, Congressman Massey. He's the guy I mentioned earlier that's going to try and audit the Fed. We'll see if that happens. The Democrat die-off is coming thanks to mass COVID-19 vaccination. So there's further articles over here on Activist Post. Looks like they redesigned the website, retooled it a little bit. Looks a little different than it used to. Activistpost.com. And then, not the B article I found, I thought this meme here was really good. See Hillary with the gun with the sight on it. It says, report Trump's inauguration moving indoors due to, quote, dangerously cold weather. You can see Trump with the hooded jacket on there, and sorry, Hillary. Well, S. ... So she's been foiled yet again by the meddling kids. Yeah, dangerously cold. So anyway, we talked about that earlier. I won't bother going into that again, but you could say that is that's certainly their excuse that they're using, although I think it's more about safety and security and not allowing him to be shot and killed the day that he's inaugurating. So we'll see. I guess the dangerous cold will have to come up with a new strategy to take Trump out. And she says, yep. All right. And then came across this one. Just thought I'd mention it. I just thought it was kind of interesting. Third temple from heaven is a Christian concept, according to Berkowitz and Company on Israel 365 News. Says a recent article in the Hebrew language Makor Rishon reported on a news story that isn't currently relevant, but God willing, will soon become vitally important. So this is all about the third temple. Siegel asked Rabbi Ariel, the founder of the Temple Institute, which we've talked about multiple times on this show. The Temple Institute is the literal organization responsible for the schematics and the funding of the third temple when it's built. Not if it's built, when it's built. So anyway, this guy is the founder of the Temple Institute. Whether the third temple will descend from heaven or whether it requires that mankind will construct the prophesied dwelling place of the holy presence, as they're calling it, which we all know that if that happens, then it will be the dwelling place of the Antichrist, not of God's presence. Rabbi Ariel insists that Jewish sources teach that the Jews are commanded to build God's house. He goes on to say that the concept of the third temple descending from heaven comes from Christianity, and more specifically from the New Testament book of John. So I think that he's incorrect about that, but we'll take a look. Siegel opens by acknowledging that most sources rule that the third temple will not simply descend fully formed from heaven. Indeed, this seems implicit in the biblical mandate, and let them make me a sanctuary that I may dwell among them, from Exodus 25:8. The Maimonides lists the construction of the temple as a positive commandment. This was clearly true for the tabernacle as well as the two temples that stood in Jerusalem, which were all the products of earthly labor. The Rambam goes on to explain that the very fact that the temple is being rebuilt will be a major sign that humanity has reached the end of days, which I think we are very close to seeing this happen. Especially, and I mentioned this, I think, last week, that I think that one of the reasons Trump will remain alive, that I think that he will have something to do with that. Don't you guys? At this point, good or bad, I do think that he may be involved in the rebuilding of the third temple. We'll see. So anyway, that's kind of what this article is talking about. Third temple, is it going to come down fully formed from heaven? No, of course not. I don't know who would really believe that. No, they're going to build it. And again, going back to my series that I did on, on End Times Dates, the End Times Dates series, part 3 is specifically talking about the third temple. We go into that in great detail, and when they build it, they will build it, and it will be built by human hands in the wrong place, because the original temple was not on Temple Mount, which is something we've talked about ad nauseum on this show. But anyway, so this is kind of an interesting article. I thought I would bring up the scripture that came to mind whenever I saw this. It's talking about New Jerusalem coming down from heaven, which I think that they're incorrectly assuming in that particular article. They didn't even talk about Revelation 21, a new heaven and new earth. Then I saw a new heaven and new earth, for the first heaven and earth had passed away. The sea was no more. I saw the holy city, the New Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. So New Jerusalem is coming down from heaven. Doesn't specifically say the temple there. And then there's even more information here a little bit later in Revelation 21, talking about more that has to do with the New Jerusalem. But I just thought it was kind of interesting how it was assuming that the New Testament is saying that no, the third temple is going to come down fully formed. I don't really know of anybody that believes that. I mean, most people that I am in communication with think that the third temple, when it's built, will be built by humans. Not going to be coming down out of heaven from God. No, I mean, I think if anything, it's going to be ruled by the Antichrist, the biblical Antichrist. So anyway, I just thought that was kind of interesting, and some interesting points that the article had made here on Israel 365 News. So anyway, just wanted to point you guys to that if you want to check it out. more information and some interesting images and stuff on this article. So again, we'll link to this in the Substack post that we put out on Tuesday. And then let's see here. InfoWars article, I just have one of those pulled up live. President Trump holds Inauguration Eve victory rally in Washington, D.C. So that was earlier today. And let me jump back over to this. This was, I mentioned YMCA earlier. This is him with the Village People, literally the Village People on stage. So, yeah, kind of interesting, huh? So that happened earlier tonight. It says Trump's hosting Inauguration Eve victory rally on Sunday in the Capitol One Arena, as heightened security concerns cause Secret Service and local authorities to work overtime. Yeah, they're not just working that 32-hour week, I guess. Vice President-elect J.D. Vance, tech entrepreneur Elon Musk, wrestling superstar Hulk Hogan, actor Jon Voight, political commentator Megyn Kelly, and UFC President Dana White will also speak at the event. So anyway, it's all video embedded there if you are interested in any of that. And then modernity.news, we have Trump's inauguration could be moved to the White House. Reporters. Now, this is dated just a couple days ago, so I don't know that's really going to happen, but I just thought it was kind of interesting. President Trump's inauguration on Monday could be moved again, this time to take place in the White House, according to one reporter. Reporter Julie Grace Buffkey claims that talks are underway to have the swearing in inside the more iconic building, meaning the White House. Huh. However, this could be taken with a massive question mark to it because she is a Daily Beast reporter and provides no source of evidence. Well, there you go. So she's probably lying. In addition, video has emerged of the stage inside the rotunda being built. So there's a video here. The ceremony was already moved from outside to inside the Capitol rotunda following the forecast record low temps and an Arctic wind. Trump issued a statement in the decision noting that safety of attendees, law enforcement, and first responders is primary concern. So, yeah, I think that it's probably going to be in the Capitol Rotunda. I think that this lady doesn't know what she's talking about. But anyway, she is a Daily Beast reporter, so therefore you can't trust her. Anyway, geoengineeringwatch.org. For this week, we have January 18th, which was yesterday, Inauguration Chemical Cool Down. So that's Mr. Dane's most recent broadcast, Fire and Floods, the Rise of Climate Whiplash. Interesting that they're using that terminology. That comes from the Financial Times. Climate whiplash. That's something Mr. Dane's been talking about and using that term for a long time. LA's off-the-charts dryness keeps risk of new fires high. Rain is desperately needed. Weather whiplash. Winter storm systems to sweep across east this weekend ahead of massive Arctic outbreak. Trump inauguration moves indoors due to record cold. Welcome to chemical ice nucleation cloud seeding winter weather warfare. From precipitation blocking engineered atmospheric high pressure zones to chemical ice nucleation cloud seeding, covert climate disruption operations are wreaking havoc around the world. And then latest installment of Global Alert News is embedded right here. So anyway, there's that. And then we also are embedding the Rumble version of the dimming, which I guess he re-uploaded and says that there is a slightly upgraded version of the dimming. So if you haven't seen the dimming, it's definitely worth a watch. I was involved in the making of that film, and really well done. And we had some really good people working on that film, and turned out really well. But yeah, he did re-upload this slightly upgraded version on Rumble, and that is embedded here on this page. And there's a separate article that I posted right here as well. The dimming revised now on Rumble. That's in the right-hand column on GeoWatch. So geoengineeringwatch.org. We are almost ready with the new and yet very much the same website. And we've been working on a revamp of geoengineeringwatch.org that should hopefully, if everything goes well, keep your fingers crossed, should hopefully go live this week. We'll see how things kind of work out, but we are almost ready with it. It will look pretty much exactly the same. It's going to be a little bit wider, but we had to do some updates and upgrades and things like that were just not possible with the older technology that was used when this website was originally designed, and I didn't build it. But I took over managing the website for Mr. Dane quite a few years ago now, and we've just sort of been limping along with the same site. Well, we've got a whole new website that's going to look pretty much exactly the same, but will function better, and that should hopefully be live later in the week. Again, fingers crossed. So hopefully everything will go well with that. So I'll have my work cut out for me this week. Just keep praying for me. So anyway, geoengineeringwatch.org on that, and then the scheduled weather for the week. So we had all cold everywhere last week, and then this week we have half back to near normal, what they're calling near normal, or just warmer, I guess, in the east, and still below normal in the west as far as temperatures go. Again, this is January 25th through 29th, so coming up in the next few days. Anyway, so that is the scheduled weather for this week, and then let's see, no new Tim Cohen videos, I don't think, this week, and no new King Charles videos to mention, so I won't bother with any of that. So that's kind of our Antichrist update. Kind of mentioned him a little bit ago. And then just some of the more recent tweets and posts and reposts that I've put up here on my X account, the Diamond Report on X. And I thought this was kind of interesting. Yeah, it makes sense now. Liz Churchill tweeted this. Assassinated Japanese PM didn't follow the WEF orders, didn't mandate sneeze. Guy sent 1.6 million doses back and gave citizens, but he was killed. Does that make sense now? I didn't realize that. But anyway, that was an interesting meme that was put out. I remember when that guy got shot. Remember the guy just literally walked up to him. He was giving a speech on the streets in Tokyo somewhere, probably a couple years ago now. A guy walked up with a handmade gun and literally just shot him. Just literally blew him away right there. And, yep, there you go. Probably a pharma murder, if you ask me. And I thought this was kind of funny back when earlier, this morning or yesterday, I guess, when the TikTok ban was happening, there were literally people calling 911. 911 calls being placed around the country by individuals panicking over the TikTok ban. I can't believe I have to say this, but don't call 911 over TikTok. Too funny. Yeah, and there's a recording embedded there. So China can't own an app in the United States, but they can own 380,000 acres of farmland. Got it. Yeah, that makes sense. And I thought this one was good too. Oh, look, electric car food. Coal. Yep. Breaking FDA is banning red dye number 3, citing cancer concerns. The RFK effect. And there you go. There's out with the old, in with the new. Thank you, Jesus, David Harris says on Twitter. That picture looks pretty real, must say. Nailed it. 0 cents. It makes 0 cents. There's your new stamp. And then here is our Gavin Gruesome uncanny resemblance factor. Looks a lot like that guy. Is that Beavis or Butthead? I don't know. I think that's Butthead. But yeah, they do look pretty much the same. He doesn't. I guess Gruesome needs some braces on his teeth, but otherwise, very similar. Pretty much the same hairstyle. He needs an AC/DC shirt though. And then this crazy meme here: Hillary Clinton has sent you a suicide request. Confirm or delete. Just a sticker. Just stick this sticker to your window and it all makes sense. Directed by David Lynch. So going back to David Lynch, yeah, if you just put that on your window and just assume that he's directed the way we're seeing life unfolding now it does kind of make more sense. Directed by David Lynch. Yeah. And then replying to this as, be sure to be this guy. And they've got everybody hailing Hitler, and of course he is just sitting there with his arms folded and just sort of grimacing. So I thought that was good. So, and then here's the post here with Jake Sullivan talking about how something crazy might happen in the next few days, and if that does happen, then I will be back. This is him saying that. So if you want to see that video, it's there. Here is the video. This is actually just a clip of Mr. Dane on with Mike Adams talking about the LA fires and everything else. And then here's more about directed energy weapons. We just watched this video earlier, so that's that. And here is I mentioned this a little while ago. This is the new recording from 1972 of the LBJ conspiracy to kill JFK. This is the audio recording and interview of exactly what I was talking about. So there you go. All right, let's take a look at the posts and questions in chat, and then we will wrap it up. It's starting to get kind of late here. Been going about 2.5 hours, give or take a bit. So let's see what you guys have to say. And let's see here. Kind of roll it back up here to the top and take a look at the questions and comments. Not too much going on in the Rumble chat. We got a few people on Rumble, so hello to anyone watching over there on Rumble. And thank you, Miss Emily, for posting the Subscribe Star link and the band link in there. And then let's see here. All right, let's get back to the YouTube chat. That seems to be where most of the action is. Yeah. So Emily says, got word today they found Dad's plane smashed at the top of Mount Jefferson, which I don't know where that is, but they couldn't get to it today. Praying somehow he is okay. Wow, that's amazing. So I'm glad that we're getting some answers, kind of, but hopefully, hopefully somehow he's okay. That would be a miracle for sure. So let's see what happens. Oh, Davey's here. Hey, Davey. Hello and welcome. And then Susan says, haven't stopped praying for you, your dad. I will continue concertedly to pray for his well-being. Yep. Good. And then a game warden with special glasses saw it, but couldn't get to it, Emily says. Huh. Special glasses. I wonder what that was. Some sort of telephoto glasses, you suppose? Wonder why they're just now finding the plane, though. It's been so long. My family and I want to thank all of you, amazing prayer warriors, for standing with us in this most difficult time. Much love and blessings over you all, Emily says. Yeah, thank you guys for praying for them. I know that she really appreciates it. Oh, Mountain Jefferson, Nevada. Okay. Why would Governor Gruesome dance to Trump's inaugural song? Oh, well, I was just talking about, I was thinking it was funny just because I knew Trump was dancing along with the Village People tonight when he did his rally in D.C., and I just figured that Gruesome would want to try and get in on the action, but probably for a different reason. You know, who knows if he likes guys or not, but I think, have you ever seen Governor Gavin Gruesome in the same room with Justin Trudeau? I think it might be the same guy. I'll start a new conspiracy. Maybe it's the same guy. And we know Trudeau likes guys, so, you know, could you say the same thing about Governor Gruesome? I don't know. Governor Gruesome, he is highly questionable in my opinion. But yeah, I just figured he probably would like the Village People. I don't know. Gruesome is just giddy talking about Los Angeles. He can't help himself. Yeah, I know. He was just kind of shaking and dancing around. He's probably on something, I'm guessing, just like Kamala Harris is, I guess, being known to be a drinker to some degree. I don't know how bad, but some people say really bad. But perhaps he's on something too. Who knows? Who knows with these people? If 2025 is indeed the year starting the Great Tribulation, we literally ain't seen nothing yet. Yeah, I would agree with that. And I'm hoping that I'm wrong about that, but that's what I've been saying for quite a few years at this point, that 2025 would be that year. I'm really hoping to be wrong. But so far, it's really started out really crazy. And I think it's most likely going to get even crazier. And not in a good way, unfortunately. We just can't skip Billy Gates' innovation. Needs to go directly to prison. Yeah, no kidding. I know. I wish he would end up there, and I don't really like the Trump-Gates alliance either. I'm not sure that they have one. It's just a matter of, it's something that is a possibility. We know before when this happened that he talked Trump out of bringing RFK in as the Venice advisor. We know that happened before. So the question is, did he talk him out of something else or talk him into something else? We don't know. None of us were there, so we can only guess at what was said. And hopefully he will ignore anything and everything that Gates was suggesting. I mean, that would be good. Ignore everything that Gates could suggest. That would be ideal. Yeah, we're talking about the fires. Exact same thing happened in Paradise, California. The route of the fires exactly mirrored where they were wanting to build the high-speed rail. Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah, and that was several years ago now. Oh, the Verbas were here. Hello? Mark and Crystal. And they say they had no idea that they spray glyphosate to dry wheat. Yeah, they do. They do. That's something that I'm trying to think of some of the different people that we've had on Lost Arts Radio talking about that. If I can find those interviews, I will link to that and put that in the Substack post that I send out on Tuesday, because it's really good information to have. And I know for a fact that according to more than one person, that glyphosate is used in particular on wheat products, on wheat. Yeah, they use it. It says I thought they banned Roundup. That's glyphosate. No, they didn't ban it, unfortunately. Yep. Let's see. This should add an arrow to the info box, the nutrition info box. I don't think that will be happening, but nice try. Yeah, that would be good though. Yeah. Kathy says, Paradise, I'm an hour from Santa Rosa. They did that one too. Yeah. This guy, Brame, the forensic arborist, is great. Yeah, he was the guy that was talking in the Greg Reese video that we watched. He does have some really good information. I know he's been on a bunch with Peggy Hall on her show. And he puts out some really good info. And I don't know if he's familiar with plasma fires, but it seems to me like that's what's going on. The Crest fire in the early 2000s looked the same. Yeah, I think too that you could definitely point your fingers at the smart meters. I think smart meters might be a good way for ignition sources for some of these fires, not all of them. Just like we know for a fact that arson was involved in some of these fires in LA recently as well. I mean, so it's not just one thing. It's multiple different ignition sources, most likely. And then they create the wind tunnel effect on making sure that the wind is so hard, so fast that it spreads the fire as much as possible. That seems to be, part of the equation as well. They have that wind tunnel effect that they create. And Dane talks about that actually in the interview with Mike Adams that I mentioned earlier. So make sure you guys check that interview out. I thought it was really good. Let's see. Kathy's talking about Paul Preston, CEO of New California. Again, another guy who we've had on as a guest on Lost Arts Radio several times. Paul Preston is doing some really good work out there in California. Yeah. He spent a month in Paradise. He has a Rumble channel called AENN. Okay. Good. Yeah. Let's see. I guess that's the end of the comments and questions. Gavin Gruesome is a butthead. Yes, he is a butthead. But I was talking about, was he Beavis or was he Butthead? I think the cartoon here, I think that's Butthead. Where'd he go? Right there. Pretty sure. I forget my Beavis and Butthead characters. I haven't seen the show in so long, but I'm pretty sure that's Butthead. And that makes perfect sense. Gavin Gruesome equals Butthead. So, anyway, there's that. And then, let's see, make sure you're on the Substack list. Totally free. And just go to diamonddisc.substack.com And if you want to enter your email address in there, that's how you would end up with the emails that I send out. I only send out 3 a week, so don't get mad at me for emailing you when you sign up on my list, please. I do have people that sign up and then get off when they get 1 email from me. But yeah, so what I do is I send out on Sundays, like today, I send out the email announcing that we're going to do the live show Sunday night. And here's the links. So that's all you get on Sunday. On Monday, I send out an email that has all the links to the final show, the final version of this show on the 4 main platforms that I post the show on. The uncensored full version of the show: Facebook, Rumble, and Brighteon and BitChute. Okay, those links will be in the email that I send out. That will show up on the emails that I send out on Tuesday, along with the YouTube link and the links to all of the articles. So that all goes out on Tuesday. Now, Monday, the only email you'll get from me is the audio podcast version of tonight's show. So that's the Monday email. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, that's the only 3 times that I email you. If that's too much, then I'm sorry. But that is that's kind of the email scenario that I put forth. I try not to spam you. I just, I want to let you know when the live show is going to happen. I want to let you know when the podcast version of the show is up, and some links there for that. And then Tuesday is the main email, though, which is the final version of the show and the edited version of the show both, as well as all of the article links. So I try and put it all in one email so that you're not bombarded by emails from me all the time. But anyways, that all happens through Substack, so make sure you're on that list. And even if you are interested in the Substack but not necessarily being on the email list, that's totally fine. You just go to diamonddisc.substack.com, click No Thanks, and when you do that, you'll get all of the posts. So this is still the posts. Like this one right here is what was generated earlier today when I posted this. It sent out an email that's listing all of the information as far as tonight's show. So this is just how to join the live show if you're interested. So that's all that is. And then if I go back to it here, this is the links from last week's show. Where's Michael Martin plus Burning LA? That was last week's show. The video that's embedded here on the top of the page is the final YouTube edited version. And so that's there. And then if you scroll down just a little ways, you'll see right here, this is the BitChute, Rumble, Brighteon, and Facebook versions of the uncensored full version of the show. It's also, podcast version is also on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So if you guys are on those platforms, you can find the audio version of this show on those platforms. And believe it or not, it's the uncensored version. I don't know how that happens, but so far so good. They haven't kicked me off of Apple Podcasts or off of Spotify. I'm sort of surprised, honestly. I've been kicked off of everywhere at this point, but so far so good. I guess it's probably because the way it works is when I put out an audio podcast on Substack, the file is hosted on Substack. You know what I mean? So all that ends up on Apple Podcasts and all that ends up on Spotify is really just a link back to the audio version on Substack. So I think that's how I'm able to still be on Apple and Spotify. I don't know, but I think it's interesting that I'm still on there. And I guess my TikTok page is back up now too, thanks to Donald Trump. No, I'm just joking. Nobody even looks at my TikTok page because I haven't been adding anything new to it, but the link for that is on here somewhere as well. And this is the article links from the show from last week. So there's a bunch of them. These are all the different things that I talked about last week. It's all there, including some embedded videos and so forth. So that is all there. There's quite a bit of fun and excitement on the Substack. And then as far as the links to my different social media platforms, if you're on the main page, diamonddisc.substack.com, and you scroll down just a little ways here, you'll see them all right here. The Diamond Report links, Subscribestar, and I had a new subscriber on Subscribestar, so thank you very much. You know who you are. a new person subscribed. I think I'm up to 6 now on Subscribestar. So thank you for subscribing there. Very much appreciated. Helps support the show, and know that I really, really appreciate that, because that helps kind of spread the cost out of this show. I spend a ton of time on this show, and obviously have investments in quite a bit of things as far as software and hardware and stuff. So yeah, it takes a lot to make this show happen, believe it or not, even though I'm a kind of a one-man band, as it were. But anyway, the links to the various social media platforms are all right there. I mentioned Spotify, Apple Podcasts. This is just going to take you to the homepage, more or less, on those platforms. Twitter, X, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Rumble, and all these other ones. Telegram. So I try and repost the links to the final version of the show on all of these different platforms for the most part, except ClickView has kind of gone by the wayside at this point. I think the rest of them are all still working. Telegram, Minds, Gab, Clout Hub, MeWe, Brighteon.io, Brighteon Social, and Getter. You probably never heard of any of those places, but I do post a link to the show on all of those platforms. They are there if you're interested. And I don't think I've ever mentioned this, but I want to mention it because I recommend different, really great people on Substack. And my good friend Russ Tanner, Substack is right there. So you guys can subscribe to Russ's Substack just by going to mine, and it links over to it. Dr. Rima, Cheryl Chumley, who I know I've gotten some referrals from. She does really good work. I'm on her newsletter list, and she's referred people to my Substack before. Josh Peck, you guys probably know who he is. And then Justin Coy as well. He's a researcher. And if we refresh the page here, I think it'll give me some other recommendations. Let me try that. Yeah, so we've got some other ones. Michael Snyder, James Roguski, Karen Kingston, Dr. Mercola, and so forth. Some pretty good people there. I've found that I want to help support what they're doing. So that stuff is available there. And then I mentioned Subscribestar, that if you want to help what I'm doing, this is the best way to go about it. Starting at $5 a month and up, as much or as little as you want to contribute. I am totally indebted to you for helping me out, and thank you very much. And again, you guys know who you are. I got 6 subscribers on there now, and I think I'm up to maybe 13, I think, subscribers on paid subscribers on Substack. So that's really good. I mean, some people are just paying a little bit per month, or some people pay a little bit more and pay one time in an entire year, and they're done. And that's totally fine. And thank you guys very much. Again, no pressure. It's just there if you guys want to help me out. I really, really appreciate it. And then here, of course, is the Diamond Report store, which has all of the hoodies and other goodies. The hoodies and goodies. And I wanted to mention this. This is something that some of you people out there, you know who you are, might very well be turned off about, but I wanted to mention it because it is there for those who like the InfoWars brand. I have I have an affiliate account finally set up with the Alex Jones store. So if you go to thealexjonesstore.com/The Diamond Report, you have to have that part on there. I will actually get credit for anything that you buy in his store, and I will get a little bit of like an affiliate commission. So if you go there and buy a shirt, for instance, I would get, a couple bucks or something, whatever it is. So that does help as well. So if you guys happen to be AJ fans or InfoWars fans, and happen to be buying any of his products, you can help the Diamond Report by using that link. And I'll try and remember and put it on the show, like up in the corner up there, but it's the alexjonesstore.com/The Diamond Report. You have to have that part on there or I don't get credit for it. But it is there, and it's very helpful. It's another way to help support what I'm doing. And, some people, they're already going there to buy supplements or t-shirts or stickers or coins or whatever. So that is there if you guys are interested. If you don't like AJ and InfoWars, then you probably would just ignore that anyway. But it is there if you're interested. So this is the YouTube channel, Take It to the Lord in Prayer End Times Dates. You guys know all about that. And then Rumble, Diamond Disc on Rumble, DIAMONDISC on Rumble and BitChute, and Brighteon. So that's the main video platforms I'm on. And then Miss Emily mentioned Band. This is the Band group. Up to 93 members at the moment. So that's good. Anyway, the Band group is many of the folks that you will see here in chat tonight are in there. And if you're not, you certainly can be by joining. It's totally free. Go to band.us and then / at the Diamond Report. So that's how you get there. And again, I think Miss Emily has posted the link in chat. So it is there if you guys are interested. All right, let's watch one more video and we'll come back and we'll close it out. So let's check out this one. I thought this one was kind of interesting. We were talking about King Charles earlier and the whole Britain pedophile thing. Well, this one kind of helps back up what I was saying as far as King Charles is the biblical Antichrist, and this helps prove, I think, that this aspect of his personality is something that we need to be aware of if you're not already. So it's called Renfield and Dracula. Well, we won't play the whole video because the whole thing's pretty long, but I just wanted to bring your attention to that video, and I don't want to get the live stream shut down for showing some things that probably would be highly questionable, but let's just say we'll link to this in the Substack post that I put out, so it is there, and yeah, he goes into great detail as far as King Charles and the bloodline of Dracula, literally, that he came from that bloodline, and it's just amazing. And to me, it just further cements the fact that King Charles will be the biblical Antichrist. So anyway, I just thought it was pretty interesting and kind of a wild video, but you got a little taste of it there on the show intro for it. So anyways, I just wanted to mention all of that, and I guess we can call it a night. We're going to do the next Diamond Report Live will be next Sunday night, the 26th at 10 p.m. Central Time. So I will see you guys then. I hope you guys have a blessed week. Keep an eye on the craziness in DC and wherever else tomorrow. I think that probably be some pretty big names out there doing live streams and things as it's happening tomorrow. So I may try and catch and or report on some of those things. I don't think I'm going to do a live stream because I'll be working on tonight's show tomorrow. So I probably won't do a live stream, but I will certainly keep an eye on things, and if things go off the rails somehow and something wacky happens, then I will jump on and do a live stream, but otherwise I probably won't. And I'll be watching I know Steven Crowder and company are going to be doing some shows about what's going on tomorrow, and obviously InfoWars and some of the other places as well, some of the other high-profile independent media, alt media type folks. So anyway, I hope you guys have a really blessed week, and thank you for joining me tonight. I really appreciate it. Thanks for putting up with my voice and coughing and stuff going on. I'm still kind of battling whatever it was I came back with a couple weeks ago. So it's really just down to an annoying cough at this point, but it kind of sneaks up on me. So I really appreciate your prayers. Pray for my health and my family if you don't mind. I really appreciate that. And again, definitely keep Miss Emily and her family in your prayers. She's one of us. She is very important to this show, very important to me. She's a good friend of mine, and I know she is very important to many of you guys in chat as well. So definitely keep them in prayer. I know they are going to need it. It sounds like big time in the next few days. So I just pray for you guys as well, and hope that this week is a really good one for you. And if not, know that as a community, we can come together and pray for you. So that's kind of what Band is about, honestly. So if you're not in the group, feel free to join, and we will see you then. See you there. So love you guys. Take care, and we'll see you again next week.